My name is Kevin Ray, and you're listening to Truckers and Others. Hello, and welcome back to another episode. Here we are, having a great Wednesday. Things have been spectacular. And I'm not joking about that. I'm for real. Everything has been great today. Got up on time. I had everything that I needed to have. I got in my truck, I got my car, drove to work. Everything was fine there. Get to work, get my truck, head out on the highway. No fucking problems whatsoever. It was a little cold. That's the only thing I can ever complain about. But, you know, I like the cold sometimes. Got loaded, ate my lunch. Joe Rogan put out another freaking episode today. Oh my gosh. I'm waiting for something bad to happen. And it might happen while we're on the pod hanging out. Something bad happened yesterday though. Not that I'm a guy to get any information from, but a fucking boat hit a bridge and fucked a bunch of shit up. Not cool. So I don't know. I don't really think I'm even qualified to even bring it up as a topic, but holy shit, that was fucking crazy. If you haven't seen the video or you don't know what I'm talking about, push that rock over off of your head and fucking check it out. Jesus Christ, it's fucking crazy. It does really suck. Like, I'm not kidding. It really sucks because there's like some workers over there. Now, I used to do some bridge work with the railroad. I don't know. That's the only thing I can really bring myself to. Apparently, there was some like 6 workers or something on the bridge filling potholes. Is what I last heard from a reliable news source. And yeah, I don't know. They can't find them. It sucks. That's a horrible thing to happen. And you know, I just in private, whenever it happened, you know, I had my initial opinions on it, but you know, I think everybody gets those. Everybody has their initial opinions on it, and I hate that everything gets turned into a conspiracy theory. Every time anything fucking happens, everybody's like, "Look at the fuck! This was planned. The Simpsons have it." I don't fucking know. I don't even know if the Simpsons have that in their deal, but I don't know. Everybody's like, This is how it was gonna be." Got a trooper sitting in the middle. Don't get me. Don't get me. I was only doing 75 in a 70. 5 over. Please leave me alone. Don't come after me. I don't think he's moving. I think he's going to keep taking his nap there in the middle of the highway. Yeah, I was like, oh, fuck, why didn't they not drop an anchor? Well, I found out later that they did. I'm like, oh, well, shit, why didn't they turn? It was like, oh, their power was going on and off. And once you look at the video, and the people are like, the video, they didn't show you. It's like, all right, well, now that video's everywhere. Like, I don't know what you're talking. Like, I don't know, man. It's fucking crazy. There's, like, security footage. There's a guy randomly filming for no fucking reason, which is kind of weird. And then there's another, I don't know, a port camera. I've seen 3 different angles of it, and they are all horrible to see. So, I don't know. I hope everything gets figured out with that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that really sucks. What else is going on? Gonna have a box of Velveeta when I get home. I'm pretty excited about that. It's a Velveeta skillet dinner. I am excited about it. Okay, listen, we usually do Betty Crocker. Okay, we're getting Velveeta this time, buddy. Oh yeah, we got the $3.99 box, not the $1.99 box. It's gonna be so fucking delicious. I can't fucking wait for my Velveeta skillet dinner. I'm gonna lather it in cayenne pepper and some Dano's spicy seasoning, and just eat the whole everything to myself. The kids ain't gonna fucking touch it because they don't touch shit anyways. And my wife, she's like, I'm not gonna eat this. Oh, so I mean, I got the whole pan to myself. I'm kind of excited tonight. Um, Not gonna lie, just kidding. I'm not very excited about it. It is. I think it's gonna be a fine meal, but that's not really a meal to get excited about. It's one of the last things I talked about. So I brought it up to you guys. What else is going on? I was thinking the other day how, because all right, there's several times in my life where I've had my phone in my hand and I'm like, I should call the police right now, and I've gone back on it and said, you know what, I'm just gonna let life sort itself out and just drive away. And I was like, what's the reason for that? Why would you just let some bad shit happen? Like, there's a guy dragging it was the other day on this route, actually, and I brought it up on the podcast. There's a guy with a dump trailer, like a pickup with like just a job site dump trailer, but the back doors were like bungeed shut, but not all the way. And there was a giant piece of concrete with rebar all snaked out through it, just dragging on the highway behind this fucking trailer. And I'm like, I should call somebody because this guy has no fucking clue. And little rock chips, concrete chips are flying up, and eventually that fucking chunk is gonna fall off and ruin somebody's day. But I didn't. You know why I didn't? Because I don't agree with the 911 call-in system. They ask so many goddamn questions. Okay, 911, what's your emergency? Hey, yeah, there's a guy on the highway dragging a block. All right, what's your name? Like, my name is not important. Well, we need your name. I'm like, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to talk to. I'm not. I'm just letting you. Can I just let you know that there's something bad happening over here, and just go ahead and send the officers out this way? I'll tell you where I'm at. All right, where are you? I'm on, let's just say, where am I at? 35 mile marker 89. Figure it out. Use the map. I don't fucking know. You got fucking GPS shit fucking tracking into my phone right now. I already know it. Just fucking, why are you gonna ask? Just fucking boink, boink it. Fucking hit the button that tells you where I'm at. Find out where the fuck I'm at, and then tell the officers to keep going. Like, are you headed north or southbound? It's like, you can tell, but you're playing hard to get. You want me? You got to have me say it. You want my name? You want all my information? You want me to follow the fucking guy? Like, I don't know. They ask so many goddamn questions, and so I've called 911. I've called 911 a few times, I'm sure. I can't really remember, but I do remember one time I called 911. Let's see here. I am driving home in my Chevy Cruze, coming from my mother's house, headed to my house. And it's about a 25-minute drive, 30-minute drive, depending on if you're speeding or not. And there's this really long stretch of road that's wavy. It goes up and down, up and down. So I'm driving on this. It's late at night. I just dropped off the kids. It's just me. My wife's at home. I'm headed home. And I'm going up and down this road. And every time I get to the top of the hill, I can see like a mile ahead of me. And I see a red light blinking. And I go down the hill and I come up the hill, and the red light, I'm getting closer to the red light and it's still blinking. I get a little closer, up and down, up and down. As I'm getting closer, I notice it's a vehicle, like a larger, not a semi or anything, but it's like an SUV with his flashers on. And this road is pretty straight, so I can kind of tell that he's in the left lane because it's a 4-lane road. I can tell he's in the left lane with his flashers on. So I'm like, okay. So as I'm getting closer, I'm slowing down, and I can see, I'm still quite a ways away. I can see a figure walking in the middle of the road, like right on the dotted line. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And as I get closer, I realize it is a man, a heavy-set man, holding a woman. And I can tell it's a woman because of the long hair. And he's walking in the middle of the road. And by the time I get up to realize all this, he is 20 feet away from his vehicle. He's walking towards his vehicle. So I pull up right next to him. And I'm like, oh my God. And I roll my window down, and I'm like, holy shit, is she okay? And he's like, no, she's not. I'm like, oh, fuck me. I was like, all right, let me pull over. So I drive up, and I get right in front of his, it was a Suburban, or a Yukon XL for the GMC guys out there. And I pull up in front of him, his car. I put my flashers on. I grab my phone. I call 911. 911, what is your emergency? Hey, I just rolled up on this scene. I don't know what exactly is going on, but there's a man walking. He's holding a woman. The woman seems to be passed out. I'm not exactly sure yet. I just rolled up here. I was just passing by. Okay, well, is she okay? I'm like, I don't think so. I don't know. So I get out, and I walk back there. Now, about the time I walk out there, the dude had just made it up to the passenger side of his Suburban. It's easier to say Suburban than Yukon XL, okay? So I'm going to refer to the Yukon XL from here on as a Suburban. But I am not kidding. It was a GMC. It was Pewter. A Pewter GMC 2-wheel drive Yukon XL. Probably a 2003 or 2002, according to the bumper and the headlight configuration. It had those ugly 6-spoke wheels, but it's like 3 spokes, but there's 6 of them, so it looks, and it's got the fucking center cap that says GMC on the middle, and they're like, they're chrome plated, and they're the ugliest rims GMC could ever put on one of their vehicles. I cannot believe they did that. I mean, that's probably what I should have called the cops about, was how ugly the wheels are on this great selling SUV. So anyways, I get out of the car and I walk up, and I'm standing in front of his hood, in front of his headlight, his grill, his bumper, the engine, in between my car and his Suburban. And he walks up, and I'm like, is she okay? And then he just drops her. Like, this is a heavy set man, if you remember my description of him. A heavy set white man. And he just drops her. He's wearing glasses. He's got a neck beard, but it's not, there's no beard. It's like he hasn't shaved for like 2 days, but he usually does shave. And he just drops her on the ground. This man is worn out. Okay? So it's like, hey, set her down nicely. But he just dropped her. And I'm like, obviously she's dead. I'm like, is she breathing? And the dispatcher's like, is she breathing? I'm like, I just asked that. Hold on. Wait for a response. And the dude's like, oh, I don't know. She's all fucked up, though. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I do not want to go over there. I don't want to see I do not want to see a body that's been hit by a fucking 2001 to 2003 GMC Yukon XL two-wheel drive with the ugly rims, pewter gray. It did not have a sunroof. I know that. I do not want to see that. I don't want to see what, I am looking at the front of his vehicle and I don't see any damage. And the dispatcher's like, we need to know if she's breathing. And I'm like, okay, what? I was like, dude, can you tell if she's breathing or not? He's like, oh, I don't know. I think she is. I'm like, okay, well, there we go. And I'm like, what happened, dude? He's like, she fucking jumped, dude. I'm like, his wife jumped out of the vehicle as they were driving down the road. I was like, how fast were you going? He's like, the speed limit, I think it's like 45. I'm like, she jumped out at 45. Okay. He's like, yeah, she's fucking crazy. She was fucking screaming at me, and then she was telling me to pull over, and I wouldn't pull over, so she just opened the door and jumped out. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. And the dispatcher's like, don't tell him, but you need to get the keys out of his vehicle so he cannot flee. I'm like, dude, will you check on her one more time? And I run around to the driver's side of his car. I open the door. I grab the keys out. I throw it in my pocket. And then I run around to the other front, and she's like, we're sending officers your way. They should be there any moment. And then I got to go over there because he just laid her in the middle of the road. Like, this is a 4-lane road. I mean, granted, it's like 11 p.m., I would say. I don't really remember the exact time, but I'm pretty sure it was late. It was dark out. And I'm trying to divert traffic. Please don't run her over again. I don't know the fuck is going on. And I'm getting these cars to go by. Everybody wants to stop and fucking peek, which I understand. But it's like, got this situation slightly under control. Don't need any help. Y'all keep moving the fuck on. You're crowding up my fucking crime scene here. I'm acting like, if I was ever decided to be like a detective or like a police, I'm like, this is perfect training right here. I'm giving the investigation. I am subduing the subject's vehicle. I am blocking traffic. I am telling them to move on. I should have opened my trunk and grabbed my orange vest and been like, nothing to see here. Move along. No. So at the moment, I am dead serious and like very afraid of what the fuck I just rolled up on. This bitch just jumps up out of fucking nowhere. I say bitch. I don't know. She just was in a traumatic accident or purpose. I'm not sure. She just jumps the fuck up. Ow, my fucking head, you fucking... And she starts beating the shit out of this fat dude, okay? I would call him heavy-set man, but fat dude is way easier to say. She starts slapping the shit out of him. He's like, shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm like, oh, Jesus. She's like, where's my cigarettes? He's like, I don't know. They're in the fucking car. Maybe you dropped them on the road. I'm like, oh, my God. And the dispatcher's like, you need to tell him to quit fighting with her and tell her to sit down and wait for the ambulance. So I'm like, woman, lady, crackhead bitch, come over here and fucking sit on the curb. And so I get her over there. I get her to sit down. The dude gets in there and grabs his fucking cigarettes, lights her one, and she just like lays down in the grass and she's like, I can't believe what the fuck. I'm like, oh my God, I am in a domestic dispute now. Still diverting traffic, but now instead of just blocking the left lane, we're blocking the right lane also because this bitch won't keep her feet from out in the road. So I'm like, all right. And the sidewalk along this road is a very wide sidewalk. So I'm diverting traffic up on the sidewalk. I'm like, get up on the fucking sidewalk, you fucking No good motherfucker. You ain't stopping to help. You fucking, somebody take over for me. I'm done. My shift's over. Fuck it. I'm diverting all the traffic onto the sidewalk. A dude comes from the house. And he's like, "What the hell y'all doing on my lawn?" I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "Was she hit by a car?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. She jumped. I don't know." So now that I'm explaining, and the 911 operator is still on the phone with me. So and I don't have a headset. I'm just holding my phone up against my ear, diverting traffic, trying to keep these two from slapping each other, trying not to get burned by a cigarette. Got a angry homeowner out here in his boxers fucking yelling at us. I'm getting cars to drive slightly through his yard onto the fucking sidewalk. And I'm like, could I just stop one guy in a Jeep? I'm like, "Hey, stop. You're a Jeep guy. Get the fuck out and help me, you fucking bitch ass fucking Jeep guy. Fucking JK Wrangler motherfucker. You fucking bitch ass. Get over here and fucking mercenary some shit. God damn it." So he hops out and he's helping me divert the traffic. Also, he uses his little bitch ass Jeep to fucking cover up the road so nobody's coming up on the road and we're getting everybody up on the sidewalk. Then the cops come from the opposite direction. Now, there is a giant median in the middle that you can't just drive over. Like, you have to go all the way down to a turnaround. And I'm not kidding. Maybe everybody's headed to a Taylor Swift concert, or maybe, I don't know, maybe another Chick-fil-A opened up down the road. I don't know. But a lot of fucking traffic. Maybe a movie just let out. I don't know. A lot of fucking traffic was coming up the road, and now we have the entire road that is never busy, completely gridlocked. We got the ambulance, the fire truck, the police cars. They're all coming from the opposite direction. They can't get over the curb, so they got to go down. The guy's like, "Hey, you need to get this traffic out of here so we can come up and around the other side." I'm like, "Can you just walk 12 feet to this side? Like, park your car over there and walk over here. I'm your sergeant, you motherfucker. You listen to me. Park your shit right there and walk over here. Don't fucking go down there. You fucking fight the traffic to come up here and then fucking side." So why you got him on the sidewalk? I'm like, "Because this bitch is crazy." And listen, I don't think I've mentioned enough about how crazy this bitch was. She's not quiet at all. Like, the only time she was quiet is when she was knocked the fuck out from the pavement. Once she woke up, she was an angry, crazy bitch. She's over there, Ricky Bobby and kicking everybody, fucking trying. She's like, "I'm on fire," running around, twisting around, fucking beating the shit out of this fat dude. He's over there like, "Bitch, I'm gonna have a heart attack if you don't shut the fuck up. Here's another cigarette." Like, I'm like, "Oh my god." Jeep guy's like, "Is there a dick to suck around here?" I'm like, "Dude, shut the fuck up. Quick, pull my zipper down. This guy's in boxers. And we're on his property. If we're going to suck anybody's dick, it's going to be that guy's." This poor guy had nothing to do with it. He's just like, "Well, who's driving through my yard at night?" The police officers walk up. The medics come over, and I'm like, "Listen, here, let me tell you the situation." They're like, "We don't care." I'm like, "Do you want to know any of the information?" They're like, "Nah." I'm like, "I was the first responder to the incident here. I can give you some information. I've been on the phone with dispatch." She's like, "Oh, the police are there?" I'm like, "Yeah, the police are here." She's like, "Okay, shut the fuck," and she just hangs up on me. She doesn't give a fuck either. Two police officers walk up. They're like, "What the? No, just get the fuck out of here, dude." I'm like, "No, do you understand? Like, I am the only one that knows all of the correct information at this moment." And he's like, "No, you can fucking leave." So I go get in my car and I'm like, "Fine, all right, fuck that." That is a crazy fucking scene down there. And now I'm the only one on the fucking road for like a mile because everybody else is on the fucking sidewalk looking at me. They're like, "How did that guy get on the fucking road?" It's like, I was the first responder because they're not going to drive over the curb because it's a big ass curb. So they have to go all the way down to the next like opening to get onto the fucking road. It was a fucking crazy fucking time. And I'm like, I was going to go home play video games tonight, and this turned into an insane ordeal. And I have not Nobody has any idea of anything or anything, whatever I'm doing. My wife, my mother, my stepdad, my kids, nobody knows. They're like, oh, he left a little bit ago. And my wife's like, well, where the fuck is he? I'm like, I don't know. He left a little while. And meanwhile, I am in the middle of a fucking firefight. Fucking frag out. Jesus Christ. Fucking, it was an insane fucking time. And I am honest to God. This this happened almost exactly to the T of what I just told you right now. And as I'm driving down the road, I feel my pocket, and I still have the fucking guy's Yukon XL pewter gray ugly rim fucking keys in my pocket. So I almost made it home, and I had to turn around and go back. Luckily, the scene was still quite active. So I pulled up right behind the police car. They're like, I told you, get the fuck out of here. I was like, these are the keys to that fucking SUV. And I'm not kidding. The cop grabbed the keys from me, gave it to the dude, and told them to get the fuck out of there. No, I don't know, dude. I said, all right, sounds like you guys got it fucking under control. You just let this dude that probably shoved his girlfriend out of his fucking truck. I don't know. He was hoping she was dead. I don't know. He did go back to grab her, so maybe he had a second thought. Right as she hit the pavement, he's like, actually, I do love her. So and then the Jeep guy was over there. He was blowing the cops. It was weird. Sorry, Jeep guys. I don't know. I make fun of you. You hate us because you ain't anus. Because you hate us because you ain't us. Or something. I don't know. That's probably what the Jeep guys are probably saying to me. I don't know. I don't even know if it was a Jeep guy, to be honest. I feel like it had to have been though. If you're in trouble, you let all the Acuras and Nissans and all that bullshit drive by. If you see a Jeep, you run out in the road and you get him. His death wobble will make him stop, and he will pull over and help you do whatever. So yeah, that's one time I had to call 911. It was an insane time. Let's see. Another time that I did not call 911. Just give me this. I live with one of my best friends. Not currently, but back then I did. I lived with one of my best friends. He invited me to live in his house because he knew that I was just living on people's couches randomly. I was not homeless. I always was settled down wherever I was, but he's like, do you want to get out of that crazy bitch's house? Do you want to quit living with that fucking ex-con? And I said, yeah, I think I'd rather live with you. So I go live with him. He had just got engaged to a woman that I got them all hooked up. I used to date this one girl, and then her best friend was this other girl, and then I got my best friend to get with her best friend, and then we were all friends. Sometimes we all fucked in the same room. It was kind of weird. We would never switch girls, but we were all in the same room. So it was kind of weird. It was like a separate orgy. Like you guys are fucking over there, we're fucking over here, but we don't touch. No touching. We were just horny and young. So, anyways, I was not with that other girl at the time. I was single, and I just moved in with them. And I don't know why any of that is important, but the fact of the matter is, I'm living with them for a while. Me and my buddy, we are in the garage drinking, having a great time. He is hammered drunk, so he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. He goes into the bathroom, And then he leaves the bathroom, he goes right into his bedroom and falls asleep, passed out. You're not waking him up. He's not going to wake up. I soon realized that I have been betrayed. So I go into my bedroom and lay in my bed and watch the ceiling spin for a while. I eventually fall asleep without masturbation. A single guy, drunk, no masturbation, fell asleep. And I am awakened by an angel. Turns out the angel is my buddy's fiance. She is in my bedroom. Since I slept near the wall, she had to climb into my bed to wake me up. You're wondering, when the fuck did you need, like, police assistance? Well, hold on. We're almost there. She wakes me up. She is on, like, almost on top of me, shaking me. She's like, wake up, Kevin, wake up. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing in my room? And I was so close to grabbing her and starting making out. She is very beautiful, I may add. So, no, she's like, quit trying to fucking kiss me. There are men outside banging on our door. I'm like, whoa, hold on. And I'm like, we got to get Tyler awake. I just said his name. So I go into his room. She's like, I've been trying to wake him up for like half an hour, and the guys will not stop banging on the front door and stuff. So I go into his room, and I shake the shit out of him. I knock him on the floor. I beat him in the fucking face, and he is still just sleeping like a duckling. I don't know how ducks sleep, but if they sleep good, that's how he is sleeping. And she's like, they're still out, and then bang, 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 bang on the door. I was like, oh, fuck. So I run into my room, and I have like a half window in my room. So I get up and I look, and it is pouring rain. Like, it is raining its ass off. Dark thunder, lightning storm. It's like Twister outside. Is what it seems like. Oh, jeez, I hate these freaking trucks. I'm rolling, I'm doing great, and then I roll up on a slow double FedEx motherfucker. I know you're going as fast as you can, but then I can't pass you because I got fucking Mr. Silverado in my fucking way. So, anyways, I went from having almost a boner to I am scared for my life right now. So I look out in the window, and I see two people walking around mine and his trucks. We both had square bodies at the time. And I open the window and I say, hey, go away. And they're like, get out here. I'm like, go away, I'm calling the cops. And then there's like two motorcycles, and it's raining, so it's weird. They're both on like Harleys. Well, there's actually three of them, because there was a guy still at the front door. I was like, get off the porch, you faggot. Yeah, I don't know what I said, but I said some fucking derogatory comment. I said, go away, Guido. I don't know what I said. I said some shit. Get the fuck out of here, you fucking flat-ass motherfuckers, no dick having bitches. I don't know. I said some shit in a panic, and I'm not good at insults, on a good day. And this was like a very confusing time in my life. So I was not good at insults. But I did. I scared them away. I don't know how I did it, but they rode off into the fucking thunderstorm. And I got her. She's like freaking out. I'm like, oh, Jesus. All right. She's like, we need to call the cops. I'm like, why have you not called them yet? So I'm like, well, they're gone, so I think we're good. And she's like, no, you need to go out there and check. I was like, Jesus Christ, woman, listen, I am not your hero. Your hero is passed out on the floor over there because he's built like a fucking G.I. Joe. That's the guy we need. He is completely passed out. So, so I'm like, actually, I will be your hero. I will defend you with my life, my lady. So I go into my room and I find an old beer bottle, glass, and I find my pocket knife. And I'm like, I'm going to go out there. And I'm going to hold my knife with my left hand because it's less effective, but that's sharper. And I'm going to hold the beer bottle because I can really hit with my right. She's like, okay, sounds like a plan. I'm like, cool, we're going to do this. So I go out, and I'm in basketball shorts and no shirt in the rain. And I'm kind of fat. And I'm walking through and going in between all the cars because they had 2 cars in the driveway and then two or three cars out in the street. I think he had a work van. And I'm going through and I'm like, they're gone. And then I hear motorcycles ripping up and down the roads. I'm like, oh shit, they're back. And I run back inside. And I get in there. I was like, we gotta do something. Like, you can't just come and bang on somebody's door. And this was at like 2 in the morning. This is like, it's like home invasion type shit. So I'm like, well, I don't think it's an emergency because they're gone. So let's look up the non-emergency number. Let me tell you, just try it. Just try right now. Just try to look up the non-emergency 911 number for your area. Okay? I don't know. I just called a bunch of fucking numbers. I finally got somebody to answer from something. I was like, hey, I'm trying to call the non-emergency number, but I got some weirdos outside my house that are on motorcycles in the rain, banging on our door. We don't know what the fuck is going on. And they're like, okay, we'll send some officers over, and I give them the address and everything. And I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting up with her, trying to give her a hug to make her feel better. She's like, I don't need a hug. I'm like, I need a hug. I need it. Give me something. And so I eventually we decided to both go back to bed. She goes in there. I help her get him back up into the bed. And then I go lay down in my bed, and I'm just like wide awake. And then bang, bang, bang on the door. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. So I get up and I look through the door. I have my beer bottle and my fucking knife. She's obviously like creeping, like looking through the door and everything. And I see police officers. So I put my stuff down and I cracked the door open. I was like, hello? And they're like, yeah, we need you to come out here. I'm like, okay. So I open the door and I go outside and they're like, well, where's the emergency? I was like, well, it was an emergency because I called the non-emergency line, but I called about some guys banging on our door. They're like, no, we had a 911 hang-up call come from this address. I was like, well, no, I didn't call 911. I never called 911. I called the non-emergency number. They're like, no, we had a 911 hang-up call come from this address. I'm like, no, but guess what? I'm glad you're here because somebody on the non-emergency line told me that there would be officers coming here because there's a fucking guys on a motorcycle. Can you hear them? And then you can hear them still in the distance. They are just terrorizing the entire neighborhood. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But you can hear them through the thunderstorm and everything. They're not that far away. They're like, no, we're looking for the 911 hang-up call. I'm like, do you not understand what the fuck I'm saying, you dumb motherfucking cops? You guys are so fucking dumb. You guys got bullied in fucking high school. You are fucking, now you're dumb, egotistic motherfuckers. You're fucking assholes. I called you. They're like, we had a 911 hang-up call. I'm like, all right, fucking, I didn't call 911. Get the fuck, they're like, no, it came from this house. I'm like, listen, let me fucking explain the entire situation to you in terms that you can understand. You fucking idiots. Like, all right, listen, I don't have a problem with authority. I have a problem with fucking idiots that wear badges. Not all of them, obviously. I do respect all officers. But when you come at me with some bullshit, I'm like, listen, motorcycles, brum, brum, come to my house, bang on door, just like you did. And they did it for a very long time, okay? Long time. Then I yell at them through the window, and they ride away. And now they're fucking with other people, I'm guessing. I don't fucking know what the fuck is going on. All right, we're looking for the 911. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I called the non-emergency line. What? Well, we're looking for the night. I'm like, shut the fuck. I'm like, this is as much help as I can fucking be here. Okay, have a good night. I'm like, okay. So, go to sleep. Wake up. Bright early morning. And my buddy is cooking eggs. And I'm like, dude. He's like, you want some eggs? I'm like, yeah, I would love some eggs. You fucking bullshit motherfucker. He's like, what happened? I'm like, you were asleep all last night. He's like, yeah. I'm like, first off, you left me in the garage. You said, I gotta go piss. You just go to bed. He's like, oh yeah, I didn't want to have to walk all the way back out there just to say I'm going to bed. I'm like, listen, not a problem. Do you have did your wife, fiance, tell you anything? He's like, no, she's still asleep. I'm like, does your face hurt? Because I slapped the fuck out of you last night. He's like, why'd you do that? I'm like, let me give you the fucking story. Okay. You pass out in 2 seconds flat. I pass out. No masturbation. Your wife in my bed trying to suck me. He's like, what? I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. She wakes me up because there's fucking guys outside banging on our door on motorcycles, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually she wakes up and she comes out and she's like, I can't believe you didn't wake up. I'm like, he's like, I don't have no fucking clue. He's like, I have no idea. The next day I went out and I bought a shotgun. Okay. H&R 20 gauge. I wanted the 12 gauge, but the fucking idiot at Walmart sold me he's like, I already wrote up the 20 gauge. I'm like, well, I want the 12 gauge. Like, that's the one I picked out was the 12 gauge, the 21-inch barrel, 12 gauge H&R. He's like, I accidentally grabbed the 20. I'm like, okay, well, accidentally grab the 12 and put this one back. This is not what I want. I already wrote up all the paperwork. I'm like, okay, well, that's not the one that I fucking chose. He's like, I gotta go to lunch. So I ended up with the 20 gauge, but turned out to be fine. Bought some extras on it. Now, I was a totally different person back then. I actually thought, and maybe, it does make sense to have something to defend your home. But in my mindset right now, it's like, I have kids. I have to keep all my shit locked up. If there's a home invasion, come invade, because I'm not going to be able to get to anything before you guys come in here and rape me. Yeah, and I don't know. Like, it was just a shocking time, and it made me realize that I needed to have some sort of protection other than a beer bottle and a pocket knife. Let's think. Did I ever call? I've had 911 called on me several times. We used to ride dirt bikes up and down my street when I was like 11, 12. From 11 to 12 on. I would ride dirt bikes up and down my street, around my neighborhood, down the road, across the town, just driving through like parks and shit. Yeah, we got the cops called on us all the time. We counted like 14 or 15 times we had the cops called on us, and they actually responded, and we were contacted by the police like 15 times in one summer for riding dirt bikes. They never did it. It was always a different cop, and they'd always said, "Hey, if we catch you again, we're gonna impound your bike." I'm like, "I don't have a dirt bike." They're like, "Open the garage." I'm like, "No, nope, nope, not opening the garage. Got a warrant, motherfucker." No, I never said anything like that. I make myself sound more badass than I am. I'm kind of a wuss. I don't like confrontation. It's like, I'm so sorry. I was wearing my helmet. He didn't give a shit. None of they were like, one cop came over. He's like, "I'm glad to see you guys are out, like, having fun." I'm like, "Yeah, that's right." So that was kind of cool. I did have another cop. I was on the other side of town, and he said, "Push it home." I'm like, you know, dude, my home is like really far away. He's like, "I'll impound it." I'm like, "I'll push it. I'll push it." I pushed it and down the road and over the hill and fucking started it up and had another rip. I mean, what? You think I'm gonna push this motherfucker all the way home when it runs and it's got a full tank of fuel? I'm riding this motherfucker home. I'm gonna ride it to my buddy's house and then ride it home with him on a different dirt bike. And then we're going to go terrorize some more shit. Like, I don't know. What else? We had the cops called on us. Somebody called 911. It wasn't really me. It was this other dude. His last name was Giovanni. So he was already automatically like, he was a low income kid. Like, I don't know. He always wore the wife beaters. But we were in like middle school, and he was always a bad kid. He would like try to smoke cigarette butts and all kinds of stuff, and always had knives and snakes and shit all around all the time. Anyways, yeah, he had a younger brother, and his younger brother liked. This is kind of awkward to talk about, but his younger brother would strip down and run through the house, and I was like, "I don't like coming over here." And he would run the kid that was my age. He was not a friend. He was just, I don't know. Sometimes we'd go over there. I don't know why. He would run around and try to flick his little brother's penis. It was weird. It was a very weird fucking thing. I don't think I've ever told anybody that, but it was just, I was like, what the? I was like, we got to get out of here. Anyways, that kid and me and my friend all ended up hanging out, and we went to the church that was behind his house, and he lit a recycling bin on fire, and I tried to put it out. Well, I don't know if you know this, but trying to put out a recycling bin with a plastic bat is not going to work. So we had to run. But he's the one that had the lighter. He had like a Zippo, and he lit a piece of paper on fire inside the bin. He's like, and he dropped it. And I was like, "Dude, don't fuck it." And I grabbed the bat, and I'm like trying to bang it out. No, it's spreading embers. The whole thing went up into flames. We ran as fast as we could back to his house, and we hid in his kitchen, looking out the back window, and watched the fire. Like, first we just saw it go up into flames. We're like, "Oh," and then we saw the lids melt off, and I was like, "Oh." And then the fire department eventually showed up, and we were like, "Oh!" I was like, "I gotta go home." So I got my bike and I rode home, and I never saw that kid again. Um, yeah, he was a weird one. He would torture snakes, which is kind of like, I don't know. I don't really like snakes, but it's like, you're torturing the damn things. It was a weird. He was a disturbed child. I don't know. He's probably doing better off than me these days. To be honest, there's a lot of people that I grew up with where I'm like, that guy is not gonna make it, and it's like, oh, they work at the bank now. It's like, what the fuck? You sold your soul to work at the bank? Like, how are you working at the bank? How does anybody have you in charge of anything? That's ridiculous. Um, Let's see. Cops called on us. We So yeah, back again, being probably 11 years old, 12 years old, I would stay the night at my friend's house all the time, and we rode bikes everywhere. So we'd go over to his house because his parents would they were very heavy sleepers. So we were able to sneak out, and we didn't even have to be quiet. We could open the garage and everything. They would not wake up. So I'd always stay the night at his house, and then we would sneak out and ride around. And I might be combining a couple of nights, but just this, if I could add all of the greatest times into one night, um, leaving my house, I meet up with some of my buddies. I'm headed to one of my buddies' houses, and I'm riding down a hill, and a dog, it's like a really steep hill. A dog runs out from behind a bush. Like this dog was waiting to pounce on me. I don't know. It's just a bush at the end of a drive. Like the dog had to have been sitting behind the bush, heard me coming, and waited until I was right there to run out in the middle of the road, and I run over a dog. Like I might have hurt the dog a little bit, but it was like a golden retriever, and I flip over the dog and I scrape up my knee, and I bent my rim on my bike. It was not good. Make it over to my buddy's house. And then he had a spare bike. So I'm riding around on the spare bike, and it was prom night for the high schoolers. And it was late, it was after prom and everything that we eventually snuck out. We were playing Midnight Club Dub Edition or something on PlayStation 2s in his room, probably. And then we decided it was time to sneak out and head over to the rich neighborhood because the rich kids were fucking savages. So we're riding down the road, and I see a girl coming out of her prom dress in an open window. I'm like, whoa! And we all are standing there under the spotlight staring at these beautiful breasts from a girl in a fucking prom dress. And I don't know. Then we rode off. We go down to the creek because the bridge was gone. There was no bridge to get across, so we would have to go down to the creek, ride through the creek, and then carry our bikes up the other side of the hill into the rich neighborhood. Go over there and hang out. We would just like fun, and if it was prom night and stuff, there was always parties going on. So we're over there partying it up as young kids, just trying to see some cute girls probably. I forget where I was going with this. Oh, and then, we're done with that, so we ride to the other side of town. We go to an Ace Hardware in the back lot, and they have stacks of mulch, like pallets stacked on top of pallets of mulch. And one dude decides to climb to the top of a stack of mulch, put his foot on the other stack of mulch, and push, and knocked over a giant stack of mulch everywhere throughout the parking lot. And then we get back on our bikes and we're riding around. We go in front of Blockbuster. That's how long ago this was. We went to a Blockbuster. The Blockbuster was closed. We were just riding through the parking lot. And a cop pulls in, stops us. He's like, "Where do you guys live?" And we were staying with my buddy. So I was like, with him. And he's like, "Where's your address?" He's like, "I don't know." Like, "No, you know your address." He's like, "I don't know. I don't know where I live." He's like, "What the fuck?" Like, I don't know. Arguing with 11-year-olds in a Blockbuster parking lot. He's like, "Somebody's been going around breaking windows." I was like, well, that we probably know them, but it wasn't us. We knocked over the big old pallet of mulch over there. we did way more damage over there than a fucking window. So yeah, I don't know. That was another time we were approached by police officers. Kind of cool. Something is definitely burning back there. And now this truck, I was going to pass this truck, but I decided not to, and I should have because he is going slow. That is thick smoke back there. I don't know. I drove through it. Smells good. But something's on fire back there, and it does not look good. I can't even, like, the sky is blue ahead of me, and behind me, it is just a big black cloud. It rained yesterday, so like the fire danger should be pretty low. It rained for a while. Anyways, yeah, if you fast forward a little bit to when we were sneaking cars out, let's see. I don't know. We were doing all kinds of crazy shit with fucking cars. We knew a bunch of redneck. We were also rednecks. You know, I was kind of adopted into the redneck culture, and I just never left it. Uh, we were always off roading. We were always finding private land somewhere and fucking it up with trucks and cars and stuff, parties and bonfires, and then, you know, just kept coming back until somebody came to stop us. There's a guy, he owned a private land, and this is kind of in like a small little town. And if you drive to the end of this one road in this small little town, there's a couple of entrances into some private land, and I'm not the one that decided to go there. I just happened, that's where everybody went, so that's where I would go. And we'd go out there and we'd go mudding. We'd have giant drinking parties. There's this dude, Nathan, he had a K5 Blazer with a 12-inch lift and 48-inch boggers. And it was rust. It was a rusty motherfucker. It was not well built, but it was a fucking badass truck. Hey, and he was in high school with us, so I remember, you know, it was just the biggest, baddest truck anybody had ever seen. And I was into Chevys a lot, so that was like the coolest thing I could ever see. I took my Ford Thunderbird out there, V6 Ford Thunderbird Grandma Edition, on stolen rims. I didn't steal the rims, but I received stolen property from somebody. He said they're free. I was like, oh, cool, thanks. Then I found out they were stolen. But anyways, I burned those tires off. I go out into the field and I'm just, you know, staying up on the road. But then eventually I'm like, I want to go through the mud too, and I don't have a truck, so I just fly through the mud and I get it stuck. I get my car completely stuck, and then Nathan hooks his K5 up to it and coats my car. Like, it's not just a little thick mud. It is like shovel. You got to use a shovel to get the mud off of my car because it just coated my entire car. And he's like, oh, I had it two-wheel drive. Sorry, buddy. I'm like, you motherfucker. And I had my windows down. So the entire interior of the back seat of my car was covered in mud that flew in through the windows. Not so much the driver's and passenger area, but the back seats was fucking coated. And we were going there for years. I eventually did get a pickup truck, and I took it back there, got it stuck, and then my other buddy, Jared, came and tugged me out, and he twisted his frame slightly, but you could tell because, like, where the bed meets the cab, it was, he had to pull me out and tug me out of this fucking pit, and the landowner showed up and was screaming at us, like, get this shit out of here. I'm like, okay, I'm getting out. And yeah, Jared, he just kept tugging on my truck because it was like our lives depended on it. He was going to call the police if we didn't get the fuck out of there soon. And I had to pay for his car wash. And we go there, and that's when he realizes the bed is touching the cab on one side, and it's like 3 inches gap on the other side. He twisted his frame, pulling my truck out because I was on frame. They said floor it. I said I'm gonna creep in here, and I creeped in. I just sunk. It was like a swamp, and yeah. So the parties were slowing down over there. The guy eventually put up like cables to keep people out. Painted all the trees on the outside of the property purple. We didn't give a fuck. We would send Nathan in there with his fucking badass K5 to just blow through the cables. He didn't give a shit. He would fucking blow through it. And one night I got there before everybody else, and I was like, I'm not taking the cable down because the guy would come out and put the cable back up. He would just never catch us. And another dude, Josh, he would always drive his dad's F-350 with a camper shell, crew cab, Super Duty, diesel, powder stroke or whatever. So I'm parked right at the entrance. Like the nose of my truck is up against the cable. I'm kind of off the road, kind of hidden back there. And I see an F-350 pull up, and I roll my window down. And I'm smoking a cigarette, and I see him walking up, and I go to say hi, but I was going to ash my cigarette at the same time. I eventually stick my cigarette directly in this dude's arm. It was not my buddy. It was the landowner, and he was pissed. He had an arrow, like not a broadhead. He had like a fucking razor-tipped head to a bow's arrow, and he's like, "Oh, I should fucking." He was so pissed. He's like, "You guys keep taking my fucking cable down, tearing up my fucking land. I'm gonna fucking stab you with this mother." I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm not even on your land." He's like, "You're on my land." I'm like, "I thought you were somebody else." He's like, "No, I'm the fucking devil." I'm like, "Oh Jesus," and I don't know. This dude threatened the shit out of me, rightfully so. In my mind right now, rightfully so. We're dumb kids that keep coming onto his land, tearing his shit up, fucking everything around. This dude just wants to keep us off his fucking land, but we have nowhere else to fucking party. So I went back the next night. Or no, the next day. I picked up a buddy that had never been back there. He's like, "Oh, where are you going?" I was like, "We're going to go off-road." And I'm in my truck. And I fucking fly through this fucking... He's like, "Dude, those are purple trees. You're not supposed to be back there." Because this dude's kind of a hunter. I'm like, "No, fuck this guy." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "No, this guy fucking threatened me yesterday. Fuck him." I blow through his cables. I knew where he had tree stands back there. I knew where 3 of his tree stands were. And I'll tell you what, they were mangled by the time I left. I'm not going to say that I did anything bad to them, but the tree stands were no longer in the tree or had usable ladders by the time I was done there. So, I mean, that's something I regret now. But at the time, I was a fucking crazy kid. This dude fucking came up to me. I fucked his shit up. And then I never went back. But I'm sure he was very upset. And it's crazy because I was in the most recognizable truck there could ever be, other than a lifted K5 on boggers. This was a dark green, well, not so dark. It was just a metallic green Chevy that said Silverado across the windshield, had a giant guard on the front, and some very shittily painted rims. It was stock rims painted. Yeah, everybody knew it was me. Well, nobody knew what I had done, but if he had trail cameras set up or something, it wouldn't have been hard to find me, because I was always ripping up and down them roads over there. Yeah, and I mean, oh man, I have a lot more stories about being involved with the police, but I'm gonna save those for another time. I hope I kept you guys entertained for a little bit. So keep all 18 down, and I'm gonna talk to you soon.